Let's speak to Khalil Youssef, who called up, Ahmadiyya Muslim Community's Deputy Director of Communications. Khalil, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Halal. How are you?
I'm very well, my friend. So, Leah thinks that this is more about Islamophobia than it is about labelling, and that's coming from a white Christian meat eater. Do you agree with her, or do you think that this is a simple issue of the supermarkets putting economics before consumer choice?
To a degree, I do agree with Leo, although I don't think that this is a religious issue, and I'll try and explain why a little bit later. I mean, after 9/11, we had a focus on Islam in relation to terrorism, and then we've had focus on Islam in relation to the niqab or the burqa, and now there has been a focus on halal meat. This is an issue that was raised, I think, by the Daily Mail back in 2010, so it isn't a new issue. But I don't think that this is about halal meat or non-halal meat or whether a priest blesses holy water. It's not a religious issue. Actually, it's about food labelling. You will remember, Nihal, as will your other listeners, that not too long ago we had a scandal about horse meat and pig meat that was finding its way into beef products.
Yeah, absolutely.
There were extensive investigations. Those investigations are still ongoing, and despite the various legislation that deals with the labelling of meat products and food labelling generally, which people will find on the government's website, that clearly isn't happening. And I agree with Paramjit and others that have been on your programme today that, of course, there should be clear food labelling. But that's what democracy and transparency is about, that people have the tools to be able to make informed choices about what they eat. So the other point that I would make, and I know I started off by saying that this isn't a religious issue, but in Islam, the Holy Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, had said that animals should be slaughtered in a way that causes them the least amount of pain. So if an animal is stunned in advance, stunned so it's unconscious, and then it is slaughtered, then that is not something that Islam is against. You also made the point about economics, and I think that was a really important point as well, because I read a Newsweek article a little while ago, and I don't know whether those figures are authoritative or not, but from what I read, it said that Muslims, 2 billion Muslims in the UK, consume about a fifth of meat in Britain, and that's worth about £3 billion to the British economy. So you have, lots of chains. I'm not going to mention any of them, but lots of chains that sell halal food, and there are good business reasons for doing that. But ultimately, it is about labelling, and it's about transparency, and it's about making sure that people know exactly what they eat.
Khalil, thank you very much indeed.